What's up? What's up? What's up, King? What's up, Justin?
What's up?
What's happening, brother? What's
Are you
going
back in?
on? Justin, I've never met you before, but
Me either.
I saw the pictures. I didn't know it was your pro debut, man. That's outstanding. How'd it feel to finally step on that IFBB stage?
It was awesome, man. It's what it's why I started doing this, right? It's like and especially it was two good shows, so like it wasn't like I was getting compared to guys that I had seen before, and I knew who I was competing against. So it was really cool, man. The atmosphere was awesome. Texas was electric. It was crazy.
Right.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah, Freddie and Sheila puts on a really good show. I mean, it's like 15 minutes away from my house, but I didn't have any clients in it this year, so I had some stuff to do with my son. So I just saw your pictures not too long ago. I don't know where, Instagram somewhere. I'm like, gosh, you can tell you're tall in your pictures. You know,
Yep.
You're 6'3", right?
Yeah, 6'3", yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so for bodybuilding, that's really, really, really tall. What made you want to get into what made you want to get into bodybuilding, and were you an athlete in high school, or was it just something you got interested in? And tell me how you got into it.
Yeah, I was a hockey player for a long time. So that's what got me into sports, really. And then at one point, you kind of get to the point where I wanted to get better at hockey. So that's how I got the gym inside of like performance. I wanted to get better at my sport. So that's why it got me in the gym, right? And then, at one point you're kind of getting to the point where you're not going to turn pro in hockey because it's just like you're at that age, right? And
Yeah.
I just fell in love with just training. So that's kind of what got me the bug. And eventually someone just told me, like, man, like you have a decent shape, like you should, try to compete maybe. And so I did men's physique. I did my first show in men's physique, and then I didn't do that well, but I really liked the process, right? So I didn't really do well until I got into the weight classes like classic physique and stuff like that. So I did all the classes. I did men's physique, I did classic, and then eventually I couldn't fit the weight cap anymore. So then I switched to open.
They didn't have men's physique when King or I competed. So I mean, you just had bodybuilding, women's bodybuilding, and fitness. I believe that was it. And then so a lot of people they didn't compete. It was too intimidating. It was
Yeah.
much more niche and underground than it was today. People weren't competitors. So if you were like a competitor, everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, you're a bodybuilder, you're a competitor." Now so many people compete. It's like such like a normal thing now. And I think men's physique is a good stepping stone for people because people were too intimidated to compete. And that's why there was a lot of good physiques that they just weren't at the level to compete on a bodybuilding stage. Or guys back then, they were scared. And King, you can probably test this too. People were scared to get on stage because the guys were just too big, even at local novice shows. The guys put in years of training before they got up on the stage. Today, we see people on the stage all the time that probably shouldn't even be up there. They didn't die.
It's not even just normal people, Everybody knows that I'm friends with Batista, and I invited him to come to the Night of the Champions. I said, just come up on stage with me. We'll do something together. He goes, fuck that. I'm not getting next to you guys. And I'm like, Dave, what the hell are you talking about, man? You're the animal. You're Batista. Get on stage. So it took time for me to convince him to get up on stage next to us. And he's like, fine. And he finally did it. But yeah, but listen, Justin, for me, looking at your physique, I mean, we're going to get your background and stuff like that. I know that you did men's physique and then went to classic and all that. But when I look at your body, I see a combination of Tony Freeman and Art Atwood. That's what I see. I mean, you actually put on size on your legs for a tall guy. Now, Have you always had legs? Were you a cutler? You were born with quads, or did you have to kill yourself?
Well, I mean, I think it just came with how much I enjoyed training them, right? Because and I think it also comes with my background in hockey. Like when I started in the gym, I wasn't as focused on my upper body as I was on my legs because I wanted to be powerful on the ice.
Right.
Right. So, but I just liked it. I just liked training. And then when you're good at something, you just feel like, every time I would hit legs, I would just kind of like get into it, get in my zone. And like, so I think I'm probably genetically gifted more in my legs. But I was still training them twice a week. You know what I mean? Like it was still something that I was very, very focusing on. Now less, right? Because I'm trying to bring everything else up. But back then it was something I was focusing a lot. But I do think that probably I do have like a genetic predisposition of having good legs for sure.
Nice.
Yeah, because for a tall guy, it's very rare, even if you've, played sports. That's why when I saw your picture, I'm like, man, that's impressive. You got the quads, you got every. When you were growing up, who did you look up to in bodybuilding? You're what? You're 29 years old, correct?
Yeah.
Who was the person you looked up to? Because since you were a tall guy, so was it like a Quincy Taylor or Gunter
It took
Stewart? Well,
it
who
took
was
me
it?
a long time before I actually got into knowing what bodybuilding was, because even when
Okay.
I started competing, I knew nothing about bodybuilding. I just liked the growing, the eating, and the training. That's it.
Mm,
I didn't even follow the sport that much until I would say probably 5 to 6 years, let's say. So there was a good like
okay.
gap in there that I just like to train, and then the stage was kind of like the at the end of the year, just to see what happened. You know what I mean? Like just to see what was the final result. But so I think the obvious answer, I would say probably the guys like uh, Ronnie Branch. And the reason why is just because of the intensity of training, and obviously the physique, like Ronnie's the goat, right? But
Mm,
what I always kind of focalized on, because I wasn't a very even in hockey, I wasn't a guy that was super talented, but I just pride myself in being like an animal, like in the gym, right? So I knew that if I worked harder than everyone, then I'd be probably the fastest guy on the ice, or I'd never be the most talented, but I'd be the fastest guy on the ice. And when I switched it to bodybuilding, I was very, very, very skinny. I was 160 pounds at 19 years old, you know? So at 160 pounds, you never think that you're going to be a bodybuilder, really. That's why I kind of like my gateway was men's physique, because it was never something that I even thought was going to happen ever. When I was seeing the bodybuilders, I was like, this is like just
Possible, right?
freakishly crazy. I'll never look like that, right? I'm 6'3", 160 pounds, like, but then, you know, year by year, just putting some work, then started developing. And at one point, people are start asking like, "Hey, do you actually train?" Like it takes time to build a tall physique. Like until everything starts to fill out, it takes more time for sure.
What's your training style?
I would say like, well, before I loved training really heavy,
Okay.
right? So I was training for fun, really, just not like really focusing on like I think now what I see a lot is like people talk about like how specific they are about their training and this and that, but I think a lot of people lost the part of having fun in the gym, right? And then what I had before is just I loved lifting heavy, so that's what I used to do. Now I'm being a little bit more specific, so I would say training style. I kind of do a lot of volume, but I still lift heavy, just smarter. I would say, just not
With a
like
training partner or by yourself?
always by myself, pretty much.
By
Yeah.
yourself.
Well,
Okay.
sometimes I'll hit it with Morgan, that's also with me. He was on stage at the Tampa and the Texas Pro also. So we were three Canadian guys that trained at the same gym, with Quinton as well. That finished second in Tampa. So me, Morgan, sometimes we hit it off, but usually I train by myself.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw. I actually did their podcast. It was Mo and Morgan's podcast. I don't know, maybe six
Morgan
months
and
ago or
Robin.
so.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, Rob. Oh yeah, Robin. Sorry.
Yeah.
And then that's how I got to know those guys. And those are big. Those are big guys too. They're not short either, right? They're pretty tall. Mo's pretty tall.
Robin's a little shorter. Yeah.
Okay.
Morgan's pretty close to my height. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I thought. And so you can tell on stage with Morgan though too that he's a really tall guy, and
Yeah.
for his size too, for his height too, he's got some a lot of muscle in his body. It's just you don't really see that many 6'3" bodybuilders anymore. It's very rare. Even back then, there was very few that that can get their legs that big to even stand up on stage. So that's why, King asked the leg question, and Mo's got a lot of muscle in his body too for being so tall. So do y'all all live in the same area and train at the same gym?
Pretty much, yeah. We all train at Dorian's gym in Pure Muscle and Fitness.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
is that a pretty big bodybuilding community where y'all are at? And like when you got into it, like bodybuilding, what made you interested in bodybuilding? Were you like just because you were skinny? Were you getting picked on in school, or you just like the look of a bodybuilder? Like, what was it?
Well, I didn't like I said before, I trained for hockey before because I was very skinny. So to not get pushed around on the ice and actually like get some hits, I would, put on some size, right? And then when I saw that it wasn't going to go anywhere for hockey, because I'm very competitive, like I wanted, like in my head, it's like, okay, I wanted to go pro in hockey, right? And then when I saw that that wasn't going to happen because I was getting too old, then I switched into bodybuilding, and then that became that new thing, that new obsession to just be like bigger, bigger, bigger. And obviously, like when you're very skinny, there's a confidence part also to having a little bit more size. Like I said, like 160 at 6'3" is very skinny. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like so I think it added a little bit of confidence. And then, but at that point, like, there's kind of like a threshold where like you're good, and then it just goes over, and then you're just becoming freaky. So yeah, I just kept going. I love the progress, and I just never stopped loving like making those leaps, right? Because in the time because like let's say off season, I'm pretty close to like 345 to 350. So like in that time gap, I put on almost like 200 pounds. So every year was pretty consistent in terms of gaining size. But yeah, I don't think there's anything that really it's kind of luck, really, just because I fell in love with the gym and I just loved progress. And also because I studied a lot with guys that are in the industry, and I don't know if you guys know Charles Poliquin, but he was also a big inspiration for me. He was coaching a lot of Olympic athletes, so I got into like a lot of the coaching aspect. So then that was kind of like intertwined into like my own progress as well.
Are you an eater? Are you a big eater?
Not that much. No, not that much.
See, this is again, this is a
This guy asked your calorie intake.
We got a guy asking what's your calorie count in the off season. Do you count calories and stuff like
Yeah,
that?
I do. Yeah, I count everything. Yeah. This off season, I was maybe at like 6,000, maybe 6,500 in that
6,000,
ballpark.
6,500. Now, is that force feed or is that hunger? Just pure eating?
No, that just, I feel good. It's look, I've done more. I've done 8,000 before, which
Right.
was miserable, but now I just don't feel like there's any benefit for me to push the food that much, because again, like there is something about right now, the size that I have, it's more specific on where I need to put the muscle on than just trying to like pound food and then blow up my waist, right? And I think what made a big difference, because even if you look at my pictures from when I turned pro, which I was like 280 on stage, my waist was bigger at 280 than it is now when I got on stage at like 301 to 298, like in that ballpark. So that just came with just limiting a little bit of the amount of food, and also like I did a lot of core work and stuff like that, but I think it has a lot to do with pushing the food as well.
Right.
So yeah, I think depending on the objectives you have right now, I don't think I need to push the food anymore as much. Obviously there's for a lot of people 6,000 is going to be a lot, but for me, like a guy that's like over 300, it's not something I'm force feeding really.
Right.
What show did you turn pro at? Was it last year or the
It
year
was 2 years
before?
ago, Vancouver.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then so it
So
was probably pretty.
I took 2 years off because I knew I wasn't going to be competitive in the pro league, and this year was kind of like a test run. I wanted to see where I stand, and you know, I'm happy I chose these shows because it was kind of like a good test to see where I stand next to the guys.
Where did you place at these shows?
I placed 11th in Tampa,
Okay.
and I placed 10th in Texas.
Just actually, that's That's actually not that bad. I think it's very formidable because I said this last week. Everybody brought conditioning to these two shows. I was
Yeah,
very
yeah,
impressed
yeah,
because the conditioning was going down the toilet for a few years until Hadi showed up. Hadi showed
yeah,
up and everybody's like, "What the fuck?" You
yeah,
know?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And now everybody say, "Okay, well, now we got to bring the conditioning because of one guy." That happens. Dorian showed up and everybody's like, "Oh my god, we got to bring in size now." You know? Then Ronnie comes and we're like, "Well, we got to bring in everything." You know?
Yeah,
So
King for a while, people were showing up with
Yeah.
no glutes and no
No, it
hams at
was a really
all.
good show, very competitive, and guys showed up, and it was for me. There's a lot of guys that I beat that I was like, okay, like this already puts me in a place where I know that now next year, if I put the muscle in the right place, and I'm still very young in the game, so I know in a year I can make a lot of changes. Then I could probably be fighting to maybe get an Olympic qualification, you know? So because look, if we're talking about the top 10 at these shows, they're all guys that usually place in the top 5,
right.
right? So for me, that was a good measuring stick. Even like in Tampa, beating guys like Justin Shire, that was a good one also to see where I stand. And then I was a point under Patrick Moore in Texas. So that also was kind of like, okay, like I'm almost in that threshold of guys, you know.
I
So
mean,
so
plus
yeah,
you're new also. They don't know who you are. This is your first
yeah,
year.
yeah. That was a
So
bit. That was something that I didn't know how that was gonna go, because sometimes you're not. Look, I don't know how the judging works and everything. It's still very new to me. But sometimes when they don't know you, maybe you're like kind of like not pushed aside, but like you're kind of like maybe not looked at as much. So just to be in the
definitely used
second
to
call,
happen.
Well,
yeah, just
here's a little bit of advice to fix that issue right there from somebody who went through it and somebody that's seeing what's going on now. You got to establish yourself on social media.
yeah,
You got to become a social media star. Okay, because that's how the boogeyman did it. That's how a lot of these guys like Larry Wheels, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah,
There,
yeah,
you got to make yourself. I mean, that's the world that we're living in right now. Once you establish yourself as a big time guy on social media, then the judges will be like, we got to look for this guy. That's the first bit of advice I can give you. The second bit of advice I can give you is you're tailor made for the New York show, man. For the New York show. That's because the New York fans will love you. I'm telling you that right
yeah,
now.
yeah,
They like big, freaky, and you got to come in there with some. I don't know your personality. This is the first time we met, but you got to have a little spunk. You got to be a
yeah,
little bit, out there. You got to say, okay, man, I'm coming for this. I'm not coming in to get fifth place. I'm coming to
yeah,
win. That
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of stuff kind of gets out there and into the whole, webosphere or everything and all the social media stuff, and people start to look at you. Whether it's good or bad, you get attention.
for sure.
And
What
that's
Yeah.
did you weigh on stage exactly?
I in Tampa I was a little bit heavier. In Tampa I was like 301, 301, 302, and then in Texas I was like 298, 299.
Yeah, I got a
what
video.
feedback did you get from the judges?
Well, I spoke to Tyler. Tyler was a little bit more generic in what he told me. He just said, "Look, you need to bring up your back. You need to bring out your chest." And Bill was there in both shows, so it was a good feedback because he could tell me like which one did I look better and like what did he think. And he said, "Look, man," he said, "you have everything." He's like, "You have in terms of like structure wise." He's like, you just have to put more muscle on. Your conditioning was awesome. He's like, but like a little bit what Tyler said. He's just like, look, you need more shoulders, you need more back, you need more chest. He's like, your legs are awesome. He's like, but you have all this frame to fill out that you just have to put more muscle on. But he's like, you can go somewhere. And that was a positive thing. He's like, look, man, if you really do this, I think you could be a top contender in a few years. So like that was really promising, and I was happy that I got that feedback, because for me, that's something I can actually make as a change. When it's like a structure thing, it's kind of like, yeah, fuck, like what the fuck are you gonna do? But like when it's just like, okay, just put on more muscle and just don't sacrifice. That's also another thing. Like, don't sacrifice those lines and like that waist and everything. I can do that. You know what I mean? Like I can very, very easily do that. So that was very positive for sure. And honestly, I didn't get anything negative from doing these two shows, especially because I'm not known. And I was actually really happy on how what the response was, especially in Texas, because it was like they were calling me by name when they were calling me on the second call out. They're like, Justin, you're in. And then I would just come into the second. So they already knew who I was, probably from the week prior, right? But
Yeah.
I think also the fact that I'm a big guy and I'm bigger than everyone on stage also probably put the spotlight on me as well, like, because it's hard to miss a guy that's 300 pounds, you know. So that was an advantage for sure. But I really got a lot of good feedback from that show.
Let me play a quick video of you on stage, just so people see you. Nope. Yeah, and your legs look really good from the side too. A lot of tall guys, they look, you know, they look okay from the front, but I mean, you're not missing much, like they said. I mean, there's nothing really much you can say. Just keep putting on more muscle on your huge frame.
Yeah, more thickness in the back, you know, like, you know, probably some posing stuff as well could be like fixed, but overall, you know, just packing on more and more slabs of muscle on there, you know.
I mean, you're 29. I mean, so if you keep this up and stay injury free and keep your head in it, I mean, then just with the muscle maturity, the next several years, I mean, you can become a monster up there. I mean, you're already huge, but you can become something, you know, really that stands out to make you in the, you know, in the top 5 if you keep this up, because 29 is young. Wouldn't you agree, King?
Yeah, I'm looking at run that video again, please.
Okay.
I'm gonna look at everything one more time. Yeah. Yeah, it's done a great job filling out that tall structure.
Yeah.
I see what you're talking about. I agree. You know, you got to put on more size. I think 310, 312 with this type of conditioning. Yeah. See, the detail is there, but you need that thickness.
Yeah.
In the back.
Yeah.
I think this is just time, man. Another
Yeah.
couple of years. That's what I see.
Well, that's why, like, I'm not like, it was just very positive. And the way that Bill was talking is like, look, there's nothing negative I need to tell you. It's just, you just need more size. And he's like, your peak was really good. Like, it wasn't like you spilled over, like and he looked, that was in the pre-judging, but he said the finals looked even better. So, yeah, so
Usually
I was really happy, honestly. And it's just like now, because look, for me, I always, you know, I know some guys are kind of like, they see it pass and they're like, I'm going to win the Olympia, right? I was, when I got into bodybuilding, I didn't think I was going to turn pro, right? And then when I did, I was just like, okay, now what's the next step? I want to see what I look like next to the other guys, but I'm going to take 2 years off, you know? So I took 2 years off, come back, see where I stand. And I even told my girl, I'm like, look, if I'm not in the game at all, even with that size on, like let's say I finish dead last and I'm a perfect peak, you know, then maybe it's just not for me. You know what I mean? Like I would have seen that. I would have been like, look, it's just not, maybe not for me. And then when I got that feedback and I actually saw what I looked like next to other guys, I'm like, you know what? I can do this. You know, I can actually make something out of this. So yeah, it was really like eye opening. And now I know what I have to do. And it just gave me a lot of like drive now to like just be even more 100%. And now that I'm, because I wasn't in Ontario where all the guys are last year. I'm from Montreal, right? So I had all this move. I had to like move from another city. I had a lot of stuff going on. So now I'm established here. I don't have to move. I'm in a perfect place with a lot of other pros, right? So yeah, I'm in a perfect spot right now to really make some good improvements.
and hopefully you have a good partner in life that's going to actually support you.
Oh yeah,
That's huge.
she's a diamond. She's a diamond. She's
Good.
not even like in the sport at all. But
That's
she,
good. That's good. That's good.
yeah,
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 that's the first thing I always tell people, man. They don't understand how important that aspect is. I mean, that's what killed me. more than anything else is I had someone who was just killing me, that wasn't supporting me. But when you have that, and you have that backbone, and you have that somebody who's going to be there, who understands the carb cycling, who understands the depletion, who understands the pain and the suffering, all that stuff, then you got yourself a winner. That's excellent. Good.
Yeah. No,
You have a
I'm very lucky.
real, clean look to your physique too. There's no weird lumps or bumps that we see a lot of today with certain guys that, have questionable body parts. Whether, like, I don't have anything against site enhancement oil at all. Like, I think people, it's fine if people use in the right way. But today you see a lot of physiques that they don't have any lines in certain places. Their shoulders are big and full, but there's no lines at all. And, certain body parts, there's, a lot of, like today, someone was talking the other day about biceps. Biceps today, there's not that many, like, peaked up biceps. They kind of like, people criticize, I know, Derek a lot for his biceps. I mean, he has big arms. I think that a lot of that's just genetic too. But people was asking, like, why isn't there any crazy looking, like, peaked biceps like a Ronnie's, or, that's not a good comparison because Ronnie's a freak, but like that, everybody kind of has the same looking biceps. It's like, are they shooting them with something, or are they doing something to blur it at the end? People have told me Derek do certain things to certain body parts. I don't know if that's true or not. I really don't care, but I mean, you have a good clean.
Well, I mean, with Derek, he had 2 huge lumps on each lat, so it was kind of obvious to the whole world. And then he just put his 9-week out pictures. He looks 10 times better now. He doesn't have the lumps. His lats don't look retarded like they did last year, and they match his physique. So I think what Armon is saying is be smart.
Well,
don't do these stupid things that a lot of guys are doing, which is not.
I saw a video the other day because people was bringing those lumps up on Derek. And when Derek was an amateur before he even turned pro, he had those lumps under there still. So other people were talking like those might not even be a site enhanced, because let's be honest, that's a weird place to shoot on your lat, like that high up by your armpit. So, and then the pictures I looked at, it was before he got big, he still had that a little bit there. So I don't know if that's just it's weird, because I don't think as an amateur, he would just start randomly shooting right there, not knowing anything at all about bodybuilding. So now I'm kind of questioning, like, what is that really? Is it something like he needs to look into? Is it, lymph nodes? Like, what is that? Because it didn't just happen.
It couldn't even not be site injections. I mean, like, just shooting your lats just with your gear could, I don't know. It's really speculation at this point, but it's like, if it looks better now, then good for him. You know what I mean? Like, who knows what it was actually the issue there, but hopefully it's nothing serious,
So what are your plans for now? How long you want to take off before you get on the stage again? And realistically, what are you looking to gain? King said, about, just not too many pounds, a few, and then kind of take it slow. You don't want to do anything drastic to blow your waist out or ruin those lines, because you are young still, and you have time is on your side. And like King said, it's just going to take time to gradually add that size. And a lot of people, they get that huge jump. I don't know how you look before you turn pro, but a lot of people get that one big jump, and then after that, it's just very small gains from then on. And then, but who knows? With your gear and stuff, everybody always says, how much do you use? Oh, I use 500 testing this. Like, most people are lying. But what, do you push it pretty hard, or how long have you been taking gear? What was your first cycle? Because you haven't even been in bodybuilding that long.
I did my first cycle. I was 26, so I'm turning 30. So let's say 4 years ish.
26. Wow.
Yeah. So I competed I competed in more natural shows than open shows, to be honest. So as soon as just to give you guys like a quick story, like once I did the classic part, I just saw that I wasn't gonna make weight anymore, and that was still natural. So then I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go open, but like then open is like, I'm not gonna go natural now, So like that's when I took the leap while I was on prep. So my first show, I finished 10th at the Olympia Amateur, but I had just taken gear for like 5 months during prep just to get to that show, right? So after that, I just said, okay, now I'm going to take 2 years off, and I'm going to turn pro in 2 years. And that's what I did. So I took 2 years of like off season, then turned pro, and then that's when I turned pro there, and then I took another 2 years, and this is where we are now. So, but in terms of gear, I mean, it really does. I don't care. Like I could really literally tell you guys what I take. Whether people believe me, it really doesn't matter. But
You don't have
I'm
to get
actually
into too many specifics.
no, but
Just
I'll
a
tell
No,
you.
general,
no,
just a
no.
general sense.
Yeah, I'll tell you guys this. Like I'm taking less gear now than when I turned pro.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
and I haven't touched, like, I'm not touching insulin. I'm not doing crazy amount of GH. I'm not like, it's, and part of the reason why was because I was trying to really get my waist down. And, I just had certain beliefs that just adding all these little things, whether people think it causes inflammation gastrally, or just in terms of like the intestinal, whatever, then I don't know, but I did believe that. So I just said, look, I'm just going to go as clean as possible. Nothing that's going to retain a ton of water. And gear wise, it was very like, your tests, master on primo, stuff like that. And then that was kind of like in prep, ended up with your typical like a little bit of orals at the end. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And then in the off season, it'll be like test NPP, and I could do like a master on as well, like depending, but that would kind of be my staples.
How's your blood work?
It's really good. Yeah.
Good. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And the times that weren't like perfect, like the last year, and when I say not perfect, it's not because it was even bad. It's just that like I had like stuff with my hematocrits that weren't like really where I wanted them. And I
Right.
just took like 5 months just to make sure that I was really, really clean. Like this is the thing. I want to do this for a long time, and if I want to do this for a long time, then yeah, for sure. Like I wanted to start after 2 months off, right? But I rather take that more time off. And it's not like I didn't put on muscle, you're right. So it actually benefits you to be at a top shape before you start any cycle. And you'll probably make more progress doing that than if you try to rush it and do one more cycle in your year.
I
So
mean, you look good. You have that clean look. You don't look over drugged. Like a lot of guys, you can tell in their face, on their physique. They're
yeah, the
toxic. And
skin, like the skin I don't have a pimple on. I don't have and part of it is genetic. There is little things that I want to get fixed, like like you can see a little bit of the gyno um
mm,
on the left side, so that I want to get fixed for sure before I
yeah,
get on stage again. But other than that, like it's yeah, the physique's clean, and I check my stuff 4 to 5 times a year. So it's like I really make sure that we're always on. And I have a doc that's with me that's just checking all my stuff too. She reminds me if I forget, like she's on top of me as well. So I have a really, really good system. Like it's really, really cool. And now that I'm here in Ontario and I'm with the other pros here, Dorian's like, he's the one who helped me for this show, for both shows. So he's also like keep an eye on me as well. And I have my own background and knowledge as well, but it's good to have this kind of like team around you, and also having the therapist that's at our gym too, making sure that like if there's anything wrong with little pinched nerves or stuff like that, it's being fixed as well. So yeah, I'm really in a good place where I am now, and I'm excited, man. It's gonna be really cool this year.
Excellent.
yeah. I mean, I think starting the gear at a later age worked out really well for you. I mean, competing naturally, most people hop on, have already been on probably like 5 years that you're competing against. Most people start around 19, 20, or sometimes even younger. So for you to build that physique and that base, I think that worked to your advantage a lot. And
Yeah.
what made you wait to start? Because, being especially this era where everybody talks about gear constantly online all the time, what made you, what you said, I think you said 26 or 27 or 25 or something like that. Whenever
26.
you
Yeah.
started,
Yeah.
what made you wait that long?
Well, it wasn't. So now people talk about it that much. When I started, it wasn't like I'm talking like I'm super old, but like it's still, when I was 19, people weren't talking like they are now online about gear. it was still like your local guy at your gym. It was still like stuff like that. So no one kind of knew. You knew, but I mean, like it wasn't the same way that it is now. And for myself, I was scared shitless of it. So I didn't touch anything, and I was just making progress. So I just was like, well, if I'm progressing this fast, why would I get on anything? And that's really what happened. I got to like 300 pounds without taking anything. Obviously not
Yeah.
ripped 300 pounds, but like I was a little fluffier, but I still
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
there, you know. And then after that, the reason why I did get on is because the natural shows that I was doing were getting canceled because of COVID. Again, like because I had a year where I was just like prepping for an entire year, and then shows were just getting canceled. And then when the Amateur Olympia just came out, I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to do another year prepping for nothing. And I was at the point, I was already at the point that if I turn pro natural, I'm still probably going to get on stuff. I had done this shift mentally already. So I'm like, why am I waiting? You know? So then I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to give this a shot for real and see if I can stand with the guys. And then I got smoked, you know? But then I took it 2 years and then I dominated nationals, you know? So that gave me enough to say, okay, like I got something. So that's why that now when I'm thinking about how much progress I can make in a year, I'm like, I still have a lot in the tank now because I haven't had a lot of time on this stuff. So if I do another year, I could gain another 10, 15, no problem, you know, if I actually do things properly. So that's why I'm not even thinking 5 more pounds. I'm thinking like I can get another 10, 15, and it'll look really good too, you know?
I mean, especially if you've been conservative with the gear too. Like, I mean, a
Yeah.
lot of times people wait, they push it way too early, like way too hard, way too early, then they burn out. A lot of people do that. Then their body it stops working as well, and they have to take more and more, and they don't get as good results. So, like I said, that's gonna work into your favor a lot. And
Yeah, plus its
like
receptors are so fresh, man. They're
yeah,
just eating that stuff up.
yeah,
Yeah.
What are your
absolutely.
thoughts on the SARMs and peptides?
Um, Peptides, I think, have a lot of promising um, stuff going on. I'm not saying, look, there's a lot of stuff that isn't researched enough, but I do think there's a lot of peptides, especially in terms of like recuperation, gut health, all that kind of stuff. I think it's awesome. I've used a couple of them. I've used the TB 500. I've used so those I really do like, even in
Yeah, those are
prevention. Not even if
I
you
do
have,
like those.
yeah, even if you don't have injuries, I used it actually in prep because I was like, look, sometimes I have little tweaks in my knees and stuff like that. Like I'm getting close to like, you start with using a little bit of Whitney and you're like, ah, man, like I just want to make sure that like I'm not like fucking myself up here. So yeah, I started using these kinds of peptides, and they do help. They do help. It's not magic, but it does help. And I also used one for anxiety. I'm not someone who's very anxious, but in prep, like, when you're getting, it's called this Cilank, right?
Yeah, so
And when you're starting to get a little bit closer and you're not eating as much, and like you start, rolling a little bit in your head when you're sleeping, I would take that before going to bed, and that really did help. It deepened out my sleep. I don't know, like I know that it's like it's related. It's not necessarily something that will put you asleep, but it is something that will help you calm down, right? And it did really help for me. And I used also Motsi during a certain type of kind of like just to it's a mitochondrial peptide, and it basically helps you um, absorb glucose better and like manage it better as well. And that I was using it in days where I was eating a little bit less food to kind of like dig down a little bit, deplete the glycogen stores a little bit more, and it did help a lot. Like I did cut down a lot more in those days, but you kind of have to play with it. You can't just like ram it all the way through. You have to play with it. You have to give yourself some high days. You have to play around with those kinds of peptides. But if you know how to use them, I think they're very useful.
Nice.
there's a lot. The thing is, there's a lot of peptides out there, and you have some people. A lot of people sell them, and they get coupon codes and all that. And I
Yeah,
and I have sites I can refer people to and all that stuff too.
yeah,
But
same. Yeah,
some people just they glorify them too much. Like they're just so amazing. But I do like the healing ones, the BBC 157, TB 500. Those are great. I mean, I can attest to that because my right shoulder, I had surgery on this one, but this one, 2015, I got an MRI and I have a tear in my supraspinatus. I started using the TB 500, UV 57 because we didn't have those when we were competing, and we didn't have, those weren't around for injuries, and so I started using that even though I was retired. In about a month, I'm like, wow, I can press again. That's amazing. I used it for my wife and her thumb. She's got injured thumb. I think some places work better than others. Of course, if it's arthritic or you got a little fraying or tearing, I find it not to work too well with like herniated disc or anything like that. But they really do work. But I think the problem is with a lot of the growth hormone peptides. There's a lot of them out there, whether it's CJC or FRAG, and people take all these GH peptides. I always tell people, like, just buy real GH, and taking like 2 IUs of GH is going to do way more for you, because I experimented with all these peptides. I had companies that send me tons and tons. Then I mean, at one point I tried, I think it was like 5 or 6 GH releasing peptides, and I was taking a lot of it for like, I think it was like 3 or 4 months, and I barely noticed anything. I mean, what 1 IU of GH was stronger than all that, but I think a lot of people, they just can't find real GH, so they resort to the peptides, and some of them work good, okay for some people, but I think they're just overrated. And the Tannion works, Melatotan 2, that works. And a couple other ones, for anti-aging, the Epitalon, the copper peptide, GH, those are, I think, those are peptides I do like. But with the SARMs, I'm not really a fan of the SARMs at all. Like, I think a lot of the companies too, they've mislabeled stuff, because I had people say, I'm taking this SARM and this SARM, and they're just getting side effects. I tried some SARMs out before too when I was just on TRT. And I tried LGD and another one, I forgot what it was. I got hair thinning, I lost my sex drive, and I literally noticed nothing in my body get better. So I understand when people, it's like a stepping stone to gear now. People, I mean, I remember Ostrin, I'm 41. I remember when Ostrin came out when I was like in my 20s, early 20s or something. And I'm like, okay, because this is a SARM. I read about it, and then I think I tried it, and I'm like, this does nothing. Because if you're already taking gear, I think it's not going to do much. But if you never touch gear, like a lot of the kids, they can order it with their mom's credit card, and their mom thinks they're just ordering supplements. I think it's tough. But those some of those do work. So,
well, Justin, what's next? What are you going to do next?
Well, I'm gonna. Right now, I need to get on like just a little break there for all the stuff. But what I'm looking at is probably the later shows next year, because I need time. Like I said, I'm not rushed to get on stage again. I would love to do New York, but if New York is not in the plans because of the time, I'm gonna gain the muscle that I need to, and if that means that I'm gonna do Tampa again or Texas, or if that means I'm going to do even the later shows, like the ones in Europe, then that's what I'm going to do. I need to put the time to gain that size, and that's not going to happen in a few months, and I want to make a statement next time I get on stage. I don't want to come out and be like, oh, he's a little bit better. I want it to be like, holy fuck, like what the fuck happened? Like I want to make a big leap to, if next time I'm on stage, I'm a lock in for first call out, and I'm a lock in for first call out at any show that I lock into. So that's my real goal. So now for the next year, like I said, it's going to be about putting on size, and I'll probably get back up to like those 350s, 360s, maybe something like that. But I don't want to necessarily push weight. I just want to make sure that like I just follow through. If the weight comes on, great, but it's not the main focus. It's really just a focus on getting a lot more density in my back and my chest. And, you can never have too much arms and shoulders, but that's really, really my focus. So probably the later shows, I would say. And, if this stuff happens faster, then maybe I will consider like shows that are like more like Toronto or California or stuff like that. But if I'm being realistic, I think the later shows would be more realistic.
Yeah, I think taking your time is good. And then, gyno surgery, you said you're going to have that.
That
You know,
too. Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
usually out about 4 weeks upper body training. I know I was out about 4 weeks. Do you
Yeah.
guys have a good surgeon up there in Canada for that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Some of the guys got him done there. So we have a good plug there. So I'm not worried
Okay.
about that,
Good.
but I'm gonna have to take the time for sure to get that fixed. So that's another
Good.
thing. Yeah. So just getting that fixed also is gonna put me back a little bit. So yeah.
I'll answer a couple questions and we'll do the speed run. What do you guys suggest building glutes? What do you suggest building glute size? I struggle building my glutes. I squat and deadlift, but cannot build the glutes. You got to train them directly if you can't. I mean, I never had to train them directly. I always had really big glutes. King, did you ever train glutes directly?
I've never trained glutes in my life.
Yeah, I mean, if
Glute
you
training for
squatted,
me was heavy ass to the
squat,
floor squats. That was
yeah,
glute training.
Yeah.
yeah.
Same.
And
What if you
what
have?
about you? Squats only?
I've always loved squatting, so that's why I have a big ass, But
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I
I
mean,
I
your glutes
really
remind me of Art Atwood's. Like King said, you have Art Atwood glutes.
yeah, yeah. They're so that I've never had an issue there. But if you do have an issue connecting, because that is really the case, like it's if you have an issue building a certain muscle group, it's because you don't have that connection there. So what I would say, I still think that the staples are the bigger glute builders. So not stop doing like the whole like hip thrust and all that kind of bullshit. Like I would really focus on squats, but if you have a problem getting that activation done, then I would probably do stuff like abductor work and really making sure that you're opening up the hips and making sure that like you get that activation first and then you get under the squat bar and then you get your squats done. So I think there's a lot to be done. Like if you want to focalize on a certain muscle, even if you don't, even though, especially on a squat where you're basically working the whole leg, right? You're getting quads, you're getting hamstrings, you're getting glutes. So if you want to focalize on something, like if I want to really get like a crazy pump on my quads, then I'll go do some leg extensions, like a bunch of sets there, get my quads pumped, and then I'll get on the squat bar, right? So
Yeah.
that will make sure that I really get a good activation. So same thing for glutes, get a good activation for glutes, and then get on the squat bar.
I actually just started training glutes a little bit because I don't squat heavy anymore. I don't even squat anymore. I can't because all my herniated disc in my neck and my lower back. So I started training glutes maybe like 3 or 4 months ago, just doing like kickbacks and stuff like that. And my glutes are weak. I mean, they're really weak because I haven't squatted in so long. So I started training people in the gym when I was 16. I did it my whole life, and I just stopped doing in gym training. Probably about I still do a few clients, some of my competitors, but I haven't done like full time in gym training for about 4 years. But there was certain people that I would have do guys do glute. Girls love glute exercises, but guys do glute exercises. They just couldn't connect with the squats, or the squats weren't enough for them. And a lot of times, back in our day and like stuff like that, um, guys didn't do those. It was considered like that's a girl exercise. You don't even do adductors or abductors. Guys really stayed away from those machines. Now a lot of guys are missing adductors. They can't get it in squats, and there's no problem with doing those. But I think when you're squatting enough, you don't really have to worry about glutes. Silly question: drinking pasteurized egg whites is okay, correct? Um, for me, I was able to drink them for a long time until I reached a certain age, and then they just went right through me, and I
Yeah.
couldn't do them. You guys?
Uh, I wouldn't do that, man. Like I would just how like if you absolutely have to drink your eggs whites, probably just do something else. Just take a protein shake or something. Like there's not or like these things like when you're talking, especially when we're talking about bacteria and talking about like um how much how easy it is to develop intolerances to certain foods. Eggs is a big one. So like making sure that it's cooked is, I think, would just make a way more sense. It's just not worth it. Like if there's a lot more things that you could get for protein than just drinking your eggs, I believe.
Yeah, and if it goes right through you too, you're not absorbing that protein.
No.
Like I can do eggs, but and I did pasteurized eggs for a while, and thought like I was like after 27, my body just couldn't handle them anymore. But definitely, yeah, cooking them would be better.
George Farah had poor Dexter Jackson blending his chicken and drinking it.
Yeah, a
Dexter
lot of
just
people
couldn't
did
eat-
that.
Dexter just couldn't do it, and so he'd had to blend his chicken breast and drink it just to get the things in. But that's
Hunter was doing that too. Hunter, and then when Hunter stopped that, his physique improved.
Don Long was the original person that used to do that. Don used
Yeah.
to blend all his food. He's like, I'm tired of chewing. I'm like, Don, you sure about that, man? The body, human body wasn't meant to drink your food. He's like, yeah, I just don't want to chew my food anymore.
Yeah. Justin, before we do the speed round, any crazy stories that happens in bodybuilding so far? I mean, when King was competing and then when I came along competing, we had a lot of crazy times. Those were some crazy ass times, you know, especially King time, the factory, then when I came on. I mean, we partied hard. There was a lot of crazy stuff going on all the time, but it seems like the guys today, it's chill. You compete, you go home. There's really not much going on. Used to, before social media, you guys can all, you know, kind of connect through there though. We all hung out at clubs afterwards, or, you know, get-togethers at the Arnold or whatever. We all hung out together. So it was just really different times then. So
yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm just new to the industry as well, in terms of like pro status and stuff like that. But I haven't been around a lot of guys that just like, usually, you know, you end shows in the amateurs and you just go home. You know what I mean? Like there's
they
nothing
don't
really
party.
going on.
There's no after. The after parties they went away.
Not in
Like
amateur
a lot of
shows. Like there's some at the Olympia, sure, you know, like but
they're still
again,
out
like
there.
I'm not in. I've never been in that clique. You know what I mean? Like I'm still kind of new into like meeting the guys. Like I met the gas team this you know, the last weekend and whatever, and then that was really cool. But like I'm still not a part of the whole thing yet. You know, I'm very new. No one really knows who I am. So yeah, I think maybe the crazy stories are just yet to come.
That's why I like, you know, I saw your pictures and I was like, man, this guy has a good physique. I haven't heard of him, but I want to have you on because I like giving people like up and coming, like platform to come and like, you know, tell their story. And because, you know, you got a good future. Key, you want to do the speed round?
Yeah, let's do the speed round. All right, Justin, I'm gonna say something, and you guys tell me the first thing that pops in your mind. Now, I've done this with so many people. Cormier was a nightmare. Don't think, okay? Chris sat there and started thinking about it for about a minute. He was, I was like, no, don't think about it.
I'll do
the
my
first thing
best.
that pops in your head. And I promise I'm not going to ask you anything weird. I promise you.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, all right, Justin, let's go. Favorite body part to train?
Legs.
Best gym you ever trained at?
Pure.
Are you a pusher or are you a puller?
Push.
Okay. What's your max squat?
650.
Nice. 100% Flex Wheeler against 100% Kevin Levrone. Who wins?
Flex.
100% Hottie versus 100% Samson. Who wins?
Samson.
Nice. Your favorite cheat meal?
Burgers.
Favorite movie?
Oof. American Gangster.
Nice. Favorite athlete in any sport?
Sidney Crosby in hockey.
You're a true Canadian, man.
Yeah, I know.
Best bodybuilder to come out of Canada?
Get it. Oh, fuck.
You had Paul Dillette, right?
I gotta say Paul Dillette, right?
Okay. That's actually a great answer. Okay, I already know this one. Train alone or with a training partner? You said you trained alone. Favorite bodybuilder of all time?
Ronnie.
Best day in your life?
Oof. There's a lot, man.
Pick one.
Well, I mean, probably one that there's two for sure. The day I met my girl, right? I have to put that one. She's gonna see this. But probably also first time I stepped in the gym.
Awesome.
Because that leads to everything else, right?
Worst day in your life?
I think I would probably put it as worst situation that I was in. Um, when I lost interest in bettering myself. I know it's deep, but I think at one
Understandable.
point,
No,
yeah, at
no,
one
that's
point,
good.
I think I hit a point where I kind of like got into like the success of what I do, and I I lost what was important, and that was like people around me and stuff like that, and yeah, so I didn't mean to get like
Yeah, yeah.
deep
No, no.
on
Yeah,
that,
no,
but
Justin, I think with today and everybody sees the glam on social media. I think a lot, and guys, we don't speak about our feelings a lot. We go through a lot of shit. I mean, especially the older you get. I mean, I've been through plenty of dark times. The King's been through his dark times. I mean, most people have, but we never talk about them. And so,
yeah,
life is not just all like roses. I mean, you go through some really tough times that test you as a man, and getting through those times just shows what kind of person you are and how strong you are. So there's nothing
yeah,
wrong with that.
Yeah, Justin, it's these types of questions that shows who you really are. And
yeah,
that right there showed me who you really, and going through hell, the saying is very correct. You don't become a man from good times. You become a man from those dark times.
yeah.
So,
Mhm.
all right. So next question. Are you a salt guy or you're a sweet guy?
Salt, yeah.
So, God bless you. I'm the same way. Worst injury you ever had?
I'm gonna knock on wood. I never had a really bad injury. I've had an injury on my back that set me for like 6 months where I couldn't do much, but it wasn't a major injury that was like, that actually changed anything up until now. So knock on wood, I've been pretty good on that. But I will say those injuries that kind of scared me shifted my training as well, so that I don't get close to that anymore. So now, even though that I'm like, like even when I was training a week before the show, I had my photographer with me, and he was like, "Man, you're putting all this weight on," and I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm comfortable with this weight now. It's like I'm not. It's not like I'm trying to PR anything. It's just I'm moving this weight with ease. So it's like, yeah, I'm 1 week out, but I'm still training. Like I would. It's just I'm just safe.
Nice.
Good.
First thing you're going to eat after a show?
Usually it's burgers. Yeah,
Burgers. Yeah, yes.
burgers.
All right. And then the final question, the best advice you can give to the younger generation coming up behind you?
Be patient. Be patient, because I think now it's even harder with all the social media to kind of want to rush things. And I see guys that are 15 years old and they're just looking up to their favorite influencer, like guys that are like in classic physique pros and this, that. And the first thing they think of is like, okay, I'm going to turn pro and then my first show and doing that. And like, but if you want to get into this sport and you want to do good, it's kind of ironic, but you kind of have to just love the process and love what you do, right? So, like when I started, I wasn't thinking about turning pro. I wasn't thinking about where I was going to place at shows. I just loved training. I just loved progressing, and then everything kind of rolled into it, and then I am where I am now, right? But being patient is really important, because if you're not, then that's when you get into stuff that is dangerous, right? Where you want to, take more drugs, do more of this, do more of that, lift heavier, lift. So being patient, getting someone also in your corner that's done it, made some mistakes, and they can guide you to make sure that you don't make the same. So I those two things, like be patient and get someone that is knowledgeable, that can help you make sure you don't get hurt.
Great answer.
Absolutely.
Great answer. Yeah, man. Well, thank you for doing our show, Justin. This is the first time we met, and I think you're a great man. I think you're a genuine person, and the King Kamali thing is always there's the good guys and then there's bad guys. You're one of the good guys. So I wish you the best. I know you can put on that 10 to 12 pounds. I think that what you're going to do is what I would do is put on the blinders and just go 1000%, make it happen. I hope you step on stage in New York, because I'll be there to check it out, man, because I know the New York fans would love you. But like you said, you got to wait until the time is right. And good luck, brother. I think you have a very bright future ahead of you.
Well, one thing I'm for sure gonna do this year, I'm gonna probably drive to New York and go see Steve and
Good move.
everyone there. Just to, it's one thing to get in front of him, but also get his feedback and see what he sees. And again, it's all about being seen, right? It's about, next time I step on stage, if he sees me, he's seen me before. It's just to create that kind of thing. And I'm not that far here from in Toronto from New York. I'm 7 hours away, 8 hours away. I'll make the drive and just go over there, get a couple training sessions, and yeah, I think that's going to be a good move for sure. Whether I do New York or not, I think that's going to be a good move. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, everything in Kingston, same thing. And I'll be watching your progress. I'm glad I found your profile. We had you on, and man, good luck. I think
one more thing, Armon. One more thing. I know
Yeah.
that he is a prep coach. So if you want to say anything right now, promote yourself. How do people get in touch with you for prep? Go ahead and do it now.
Yeah.
Or sponsors
so
you like to take or anything.
Yeah, well, sponsors. Actually, there's a new one that I was going to announce, but I'll do it on here. So I just got with Gasp recently this weekend, Flavor Gang as well for the cream of rice, and Warner Science, which is the peptide company. As for the coaching, if anyone's interested in coaching, you guys can reach me on my Instagram, Justin Savoie. Yeah, that's it. I get all my inquiries through there. After that, we'll get on a call and we'll go from there.
Awesome, Justin. Appreciate you for coming
Yeah.
on, and good luck. And I'm excited to see what you do in the future.
Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you guys. I've been watching you guys for a while now, so really, really fucking cool.
Take care, brother. Be good.
Have a good day.
Ciao.
Peace.
Peace.
Later. Bye.